find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Welcome to the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League here from Zandvoort. It's time for the final round of 12 in another great season. This is the penultimate one, of course, of 2024. And this circuit Zandvoort will seal our finale after a tour across the world, of course, in this league, as we always have. 1 week ago over in Japan for Motegi, after a duo of European rounds, over in America for races like Sebring earlier on in this season as well, and of course Montreal at the start of the season. But now we get to Zandvoort, one of many European circuits we've been to on this calendar, and time for the last round with myself, Ewan and James Parfitt, on a delayed broadcast, but glad to be along with you for this one nevertheless, as the half an hour elapses here in qualifying. It's Mackenzie Roon who looks like he's going to take pole position here, the winner 1 week ago in the sorry, not win.
What? Are you okay?
1 week ago in the sorry, I'm just buffering. My brain's just buffering in real life. But yeah, up there 1 week ago, and looking strong to start off with. And of course, a really strong qualifying position always gives you a good chance around this circuit.
Yeah, it's I can't believe you just done a buffer moment there as well. Yeah, it was a bit of a difficult one for Mackenzie Roon at Motegi. Last week was obviously won by Lee Aberdeen, Antonio Jimenez second, and Andy Flint grabbed a great third place there as well. But I think going into the championship, it's been an interesting run. It's been between Mackenzie Roon, Antonio Jimenez, Pedro Suarez. Robert Ridgway's been up there as well, so I think there's a mixture of four going into the final event. Now, can anybody overturn Pedro Suarez? Well, we're going to find out. Let's be real about it. He's driven outstanding all season. Let's welcome in Jack Willems, who is at work around about now. He's in his last hour of work, and he's gone really quiet, so he sat watching the broadcast. Remex, hola boys, he says there as well, after the earlier technical issue, which I do apologise for. Just waiting for the cars to come over the line for the end of qualifying, and then we will be able to bring you up the grid ready to go for this race. But I think it's going to be an interesting one here. Zandvoort, 33 laps of Zandvoort. The magenta zone goes right the way round to turn 7. So it's a long magenta zone this evening, so that's going to be an interesting one as well.
Yeah, it's does mean that it lasts right the way to the middle sector, where it's going to be very difficult to overtake anyway. So checker flag flies in the qualifying session, but as always, it just takes a little bit of a long time for whatever reason for the session to actually move on forward before we get through the grid, which once again is going to be quite monstrous, because that's what we get in the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League. 38 of them I can see in the session at the moment. 35 have got times to their name. So let's have a look at that grid as we go forward into the race, with Mackenzie Roon on the pole position. Kevin Jemstra exactly a tenth behind in second, with Lee Aberdeen and Robert Ridgway on the second row. Tony Jimenez and Andy Flint on row 3 ahead of Chris Trott and Ludovic Ranson in 8th place. Then it's Joseph Lucas and Patrick Pieper, the final of the drivers in the top 10. Jack Williams and Koji Ito on row 6, just ahead of 13th placed Zoltan Zamota. Moses Putnik's next ahead of Daryl Govender, with Stefan Dodderer in 16th. Patrick Williams and Clark Williams round up row 9, with Eddie Amos and Chris Pratt next. It's Adam Townsford just outside the top 20, with Bart Jan van der Laan in 22nd, Dennis Cornu. Alex Civiano is in 24th, ahead of Marcelo Kessler and Nguyen, who round out the 13th row. Then it's Mike Zotlovs and Costas Tenebrel in 28th. Oscar Ortinano is alongside John McKenzie to round out the top 30, with Maximilian Gebhardt 31st. David Gerard is at 32nd, ahead of Don Olkett, with Donald Strauss 34th. Mackenzie Newhoff, of course, the champion of this series in years gone past, is 35th, ahead of Kevin Byland, Richard Van Veen and Richard Valley as well, although I'm not entirely confident we'll get all of those drivers onto the grid, because 3 of those at the bottom did not set times, although encouragingly Richard Van Veen has got onto the grid for now. About 30 seconds away from starting, and we're expecting a calm start, to be honest, because of the long magenta zone that you mentioned. It should be single file pretty quickly.
Yeah, it should be, and it's right the way round to the end of turn 7, which is on the bottom left-hand corner of the track map there, shaped like a T, of course. It is the bottom left-hander. But I think it's going to be an interesting one. Zandvoort's going to be very, very exciting, and I've got one of the things that they really do not want to be doing is taking the inside of the banking of turn number 3, because it will not work out for them. It's a slower route. Use the banking on the high curb. It'd be interested to see if anybody makes it work.
Yeah, you've almost got to exceed track limits up top there to really make use of the curb. But anyway, the green flag waves and we're underway. One last round in the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League for Season 3 of 2024. And Mackenzie Roon gets off to the perfect start. He's taken the lead early on, as expected. Kevin Dremster tucks into second place ahead of Lee Aberdeen, who's third. Then it's Rob Ridgway, Tony Jimenez, Andy Flint, Chris Trott, who's going side by side with Ludwig Raston. That is the first battle in the field, really. Chris Trott gets caught up on the inside, as you mentioned. Not the place to be, and so Ranson goes round the outside up to 7th place.
Yeah, great start from Mackenzie Rooney. Did what he had to do. He got off the line, got the job done, and is running out in front. Now we're coming into the area where overtakes will matter, and you will be able to start overtaking. It kicks in about now. So this is it. We're up and running, full ball racing. Who's going to be able to get to the end? Well, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. No real dramas over the front at this moment in time. There's nothing big going on off the start line. Zoltan Zamota's caught up in here with Clark Williams, Darryl Govender, Eddie Amos and Chris Pratt. This is a great little battle kicking in earlier on. It looks like Chris Strout has, Donald Strout, has unfortunately had an issue and has gone down the order, but they're starting to run free wide as they're coming down into turn 10.
Yeah, the racing very much on now, and so side by side they'll go into the chicane. It's 11 and 12, and then still side by side on the way out of it as well for the likes of Eddie Amos and Clark Williams. It's an all British battle hit for 18th position. Williams taking that place for now, but through the banked final corner they go, and surely Eddie Amos is going to come straight back here. Back down the inside he'll go. Chris Pratt's got to be close here as well, to maybe making it free wide. Not sure where he is, whether he's on our right, left, or still just behind. I think still just behind as Williams goes round the outside through Tarzan. This is a good opportunity. If you're on the outside, you can still hold it there, and you need to be ahead by turn 2, which he is, because as we said before, you don't want to be side by side from this corner. As Zoltan Zamota finds out. Oh, big crash, big contact, and I'm afraid his season comes to an end with 3 wheels on his wagon.
Yeah, Dalton Zamota and Patrick Williams, and I think Williams flew off into the underrealm there and literally instantly disappeared. We will have a look at replays after the race as well, so stay with us. We will catch up with that because we cannot do that live of what we are running at this moment in time. So we will have a look back at that. But Zoltan Zamota contact with Patrick Williams, I believe, and Williams went off into the shadow realm on that one, unfortunately for Patrick Williams. But great battles going on. You can see Mackenzie Roon's opened up about a 7-10th lead at the moment over Kevin Webster. Lee Aberdeen tucked in right behind him. Robert Ridgway in there as well. And then just behind that is Tony Jimenez, Andy Flynn, and a lot of it Rancon.
Yep, so through the final couple of corners they go. Now Banks turn 14, which is worse. Sorry. Ludwig Rodson gets a good run and he's going to pull to the inside here, but as I said before, it's not always the ideal place to be. It's made Zandvoort very dynamic, the new banking at turn 3, because before, being on the inside or outside was a surefire way of getting through into turn 1, and you just have it done. But if you stay side by side, then there is a little bit to play for. You can hang it around the outside through at turn 1 and have the advantage there, but then you'll be on the inside at 3, which is where you don't want to be, and vice versa. You'll have the advantage through, or the disadvantage through 1 and the advantage through 3. Up the hill they go though. Ludwig Ransson has made it through. This is turn 7. The long right-hander, he's got it slightly wrong. Straight into the gravel, straight into the grass, and he's going to be overtaken straight away again by Andy Flint in what's becoming increasingly a battle for 6th place, and not much more because the gap in front of them is very much opening.
Yeah, you can see Flynn, Chris, you got Flynn, Rancon, Trott, Lucas, Pieper in there, and Jacques Willems, of course. Jacques there riding high in just outside the top 10 at the moment. I'm sure he'll be looking to move his way forward. We've got a couple of people in the pits. Obviously, Zoltan Zamota was in there. Patrick Williams has been in there. And, well, I think he's back out. No, he's not back out on the race circuit. He is gone. So, unfortunately for Patrick Williams there, wherever he went after that accident, he hasn't come back. So that's going to be an interesting one. There's one down here as well. Maximilian, Dave Girard, Donna Lakey, and Richard Van Veen. Believe it or not, these guys are actually fighting for last place, but they're having a right little ding-dong at the back of the field here, and it's great to see that they're still fighting it out here. But it's all about what's going to go on here with Ludovic Rancon, Chris Trott, and Joseph Marcus Lucas.
Yeah, last of those in the race still. Unfortunately, we have had a few fall by the wayside, as we mentioned. Replays come at the end because we're on a retrospective broadcast, so you'll have to wait till the end, unfortunately. But we will show you everything that has gone on for the second time in condensed form at the end of the broadcast. On board with Joseph Mark Lucas then through turn 7 and now into the technical middle sector. A little bit wide up ahead here, and well, he's not going to have much chance into turn 9, which interestingly, by the way, all of these corners, or most of them anyway, are actually named after something. Complicated Dutch, so we're not going to go on about it too much, but turn 9 and 10 are literally just called turn 9 and 10, which is not very inventive, but that's what they're called. Down into turn 11 and 12 they go then, and this is the chicane, of course, if you can call it that. Loop round to the left, and you get a load of dirt in your face as well as you go through turn 12, because everyone goes a bit deep into 11 and brings all that gravel onto the circuit, and I'm already on lap 4. Track is covered as it is there.
Yeah, you can see they've been spitting off dirt off the racetrack, and it's been coming back on. But let's see what Lucas is going to do here. We've got a bit of a draft train going on at the moment with Lucas, Trott, Rancon and Patrick Pieper. Neither of them are really closing in on each other. You can see up front though, Chris Trott nearly had it all wrong in behind the back end of Rancon. That's put him side by side with Lucas. You can see there's Trott there. What's Lucas going to do here? You've got to take the high line, run round him, run round him, run round him. Trott's covered him off. He's going to try to cut back on the inside. Not quite going to get it this time around.
Well, he's going to have the run, though, and he's nearly side by side here, looking at the inside, but he's not going to be able to do it there. And Patrick Pieper is having a peep as well on the way towards 7. That was very close. They all get through in the end, but goodness me, that was close on the way through the roller coaster, if you like, over and up and down the sand dunes here. It was very close indeed between Joseph Mark Lucas and Chris Trott, who he was trying to take the position from. If you remember to just back a lap ago as well, through turn 8, Trott got it a little bit wrong there. He went a little bit wide there, and Joseph Mark Lucas tried to go through on that occasion, couldn't do it. So just shows that around this circuit, even when mistakes are made ahead of you, it's not a sure and foregone conclusion whether you're going to make a pass or not. It is still difficult to overtake, even with mistakes ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing when you're on a circuit like this as well. It's very fast paced. You know, they're going around in 124s here, and you can see on the back end Stefan Dodra and Maciej Putnieks have closed in with Koji Ito in the middle. It is literally at this moment in time like this draft train scenario. You can see here, even with Bart-Jan van der Laan and Eddie Amos, Bart can't get any closer. You know, Eddie catching a little bit of the draft of Chris Pat, but he just can't get any closer there either. So Robert Ridgway has now got Tony Jimenez closing in on him as well. Jacques Williams says try turn 3 Hugenholt spot and turn 7 Shivalak, which is about the only two that I can pronounce, and Tarzan, which is turn 1.
Hugenholzbach.
Hugenholzbach,
You've got to use a bit more throat than we are, but we're not Dutch.
Hugenholzbach. There you go.
Giving it a go. Marks out of 10 from Jacques Willems surely on the way for that. I'm going to say it's maybe towards closer to 0 than 10, but anyway, let's wait and see for his verdict. Side by side out the turn 10 again they go. Looks like Joseph Mark Lucas is quicker than Chris Trott, or at least more consistent, but again breaks a little bit early, allows Trott to get back into the racing line a little bit before the turning point there for turn 11, and Joseph Mark Lucas here still unable to find a way through, and this is getting frustrating now for him surely, and dangerous actually as well, because Patrick Pieper will be fancying his chances ever more with each unsuccessful attempt, and here he is on board with him, and he's fast down the straight here. Off of turn 14 he comes off flying and into Tarzan, in towards turn number 1. He is not quite going to have the place because of the banking round the outside, but if he can just stay there for turn 3 he'll be okay. He can't stay there though, and he has to stay in 10th position.
Yeah, backed up kind of a little bit. Putnieks and Koji Ito are running side by side as well. Putnieks on the outside, Koji Ito trying to go on the inside. You can see how much the inside isn't work because it's cost him a place to Stefan Dodora as well. So Dodora has gone through on Koji Ito. Ito didn't lose. He went to go for 1, but he ended up coming back for 2, unfortunately for him. So Ito's got to play that smart. You've got to be on that high banking. You cannot be on the inside. It's very, very dangerous, and you literally will struggle for pace. All in all, that's flat out rule of Zandvoort. Don't go high on the banking. You will literally struggle. One of the things that I have picked up on over the last lap or so is Kevin Zwemstra has pulled that gap down to Mackenzie Roon here to about a second at the moment as well. So Mackenzie Roon, Kevin Zwemstra is starting to close in on Mackenzie Roon, and he's pulled it, as I say, down below a second at the moment.
Looking to bounce back from Motegi is Kevin Zwemstra, where he finished all the way down in 23rd position after a incident relatively towards the end of the race, with it's about 2/3 of the race gone. Meanwhile, this battle for 12th place, not quite going away. Putnik's having to defend it to turn one, and look at that round the outside, Stefan Dodderer. Well, that was brave, but he was not going to make that work. He's got the cutback though, is he? And has he fought for the inside at 2? Oh, not quite. If he can get there again, you can have a right run round the outside. Putnik's has a bit of a wonky entrance to turn 3, and Dodderer needs a good run here as they go through the roller coaster and up and over the sand dunes again. Here comes Dodderer, looking at the inside. Oh, he's going to run out of space again, and that's the problem when you're running through these corners. It is possible to go side by side, but actually creating that side by side moment is very difficult.
Yeah, it is. It's got to be an elbows out scenario, and that's the thing for Stefan Dodderer. He's got to go elbows out and try and literally put him under pressure. Bart-Jan van der Land and Eddie Amos with Daryl Govender still guys fighting out for literally 17th, 18th and 19th, not really leaving each other alone either. Further down, you've got Dave Gerard, John McKenzie and Richard Van Veen are really close together, and as I say that, it looks like John McKenzie is sitting in the gravel trap, so clearly there was contact. They were very, very close. Adam Townswell, Richard Van Veen has lost his nose there, so whatever happened with John McKenzie, it was terminal on that one. Oscar Artinano and Maximilian Gerbart fighting it out, and we've still got Robert Ridgway under pressure from Tony Jimenez.
That was weird. So I'm guessing those two incidents were related, with McKenzie with no rear wing and Van Veen with no front wing. I'm going to put 2 and 2 together there and hope that it makes 4, but we'll see after the race, of course, what happened. We'll have a look at all the incidents again after the race as we look back from Robert Ridgway there, looking at Tony Jimenez just in behind him. Typically consistent as always from Jimenez last week, as he finished second in the race, just in behind Lee Aberdeen, who won at Motegi, of course. For his third podium of the season, that was Jimenez. But again, he hasn't won this season. He does do that a lot, doesn't he? He gets plenty of podiums, plenty of top 5s, always there or thereabouts in the championship, but never really gets those race wins that just puts you into championship contention that little bit further than just podiums do.
Yeah, he's been on the podium 4 times this season, so is it consistent enough to take a championship? Well, if you look at the likes of, say, for instance, Pedro Suarez, he's been on the podium over 6 times, 7, 8 times. 6 times with 2 pole positions. So he's done it more than Tony Jimenez. So maybe for Jimenez, it is just all about that consistency, all about being able to take that top 3 religiously every single week. And maybe it's just something he's struggled with this season. I'm sure Tony will come back stronger, fighting for a championship last season with Lee Aberdeen, and I'm sure he will come back and fight again next season. But at the moment, it's all about how far up he can get now going into this final race, because he's still fighting for that second place with Mackenzie Roon and himself.
And speaking of which, he's just turned up in YouTube as well, which is good to see. So it's quite nice to chat to the drivers about their driving after the race. But there you go. We don't get to do this very often, of course, because we like doing it live as well. Meanwhile, battle for 11th. Yes, but again, I'm going to guess he ran into the same problems he did last time.
Yeah. I think you might be right there. He got the run out of turn 3 and then just couldn't make it any further up. Unfortunately for Dodderer, and with Putniek's just shutting the door on him every single time, there wasn't a whole lot of places that he can do. But he's definitely showing pace, is Stefan Dodderer. So, I think he's another one that's coming on as the season's gone on. He's got better and better and better. And I think he's doing a great job as well.
Yeah, certainly. And it's good to see a new driver in the fray as far as the top 10 goes, especially. You often get that in this league. So many different drivers appearing. By the way, this season, I've got records of 73 drivers scoring points. 74 even, scoring points across this season. That tells you all you need to know, that actually this league has more drivers scoring points in it than can actually be present at one round. That's just what we're seeing with this league again. It's wonderful to see and great that it is so popular. Here comes Tony Jimenez again on the back of Robert Ridgway, who is quite a few seconds behind Lee Aberdeen at the moment in that final podium place, but they're going to lose only more time as they fight here. Jimenez looks to the outside through turn 7, but again, he can't find his way through, and he's struggling to get through, as is everybody else.
Yeah, it gets to the point of sometimes where they are just following, but I think at the end of the day, I'm sure for Jimenez, he's got to work him. He's got to put him where he wants to, because he's got Andy Flint closing in, and Flint's no slouch either, you know, so he's got to be careful here, because for him, it's going to be very difficult if Flint does what he's doing now, putting him under pressure, going through. Can he get it stopped? Oh, he does. Oh, take a bow, Andy Flint.
He's a bit wide though, and Jimenez comes back at him on the outside in towards 13. He's not quite alongside, but he has just taken the line away from Andy Flint on the way into 13, and that's going to give him the slipstream as well. Up the hill, he'll have to go here. He dives down, doesn't want to take the gravity by going up the hill. Instead goes to the inside line. Flint will hold it round the outside, or will hope to. He can't quite, can he? He's going to break very late, probably too late in the end. After all that, they stay in the same positions that they were before, somewhat remarkably.
Yeah, you saw him hit the marbles on the outside of 1, and then he just struggled to get it stopped. It was such a great battle, but he just struggled to get it stopped once he hit the marbles on the outside of turn 1.
Yeah, and what it's effectively done is cost them a couple of seconds as well. It all started when Jimenez had a bit of a slide out of turn number 10, and that really allowed Flint to catch up and have a go. But in the end, there was no way through for Andy Flint, as Dennis Cornu's off, or he's been off, because oh dear, what's happened here? That's a place you don't see people off very often. Daryl Govender is the driver who's retiring, and I don't know whether his incident was related to Dennis Cornu or not, but the Frenchman's still falling backwards. Marcelo Kessler, the latest to try and get through, and well, he can't quite, but that was a very odd place to stop.
Yeah, there must have been contact with him and Dennis Cornu, I think, as well. I want to pick up on Eddie Amos, because they're literally near enough free wide here at the moment. Eddie Amos, Patrick Pieper and Bart-Jan van der Laan having a right little ding-dong. Is Eddie going to get that stopped? He is there. Pieper's in behind him, and van der Laan behind that, and currently at this moment in time. So a great little battle, down 14th, 15th and 16th here. What seems to be a circuit that's quite difficult to overtake.
It does, yeah. That's Zandvoort for you after the F1 changes. It makes it more difficult to overtake, in my opinion.
They crashed on a straight!
And there we go. That was on a straight, and Koji Ito's off, and spinning around just in front of them, I think, is Stefan Dodderer as well. In sympathy, Stefan Dodderer has gone around too. So 2 incidents in 1. Koji Ito is off in the gravel. Dodderer is just about going again without imprinting anybody. Dennis Cornu makes up 2 places, as does Marcelo Kessler into 16th and 17th.
Oh, dearie me, for them to crash on a straight. Oh, no. That was Clark Williams and Koji Ito there. And, well, yeah, I'm sure questions will be asked how they managed to crash going down the straightaway. Dave Gerard down here is having a great little battle, and behind that is Maximilian Gerbart he's having a little fight with, and Max and them two sorting it out further down on that one. So great little battles all the way down through the field. That's 22nd, and Flint has gone round. Something's happened to Andy Flint there.
Yeah, I think he might have spun around after turn 12 on the power, if I were to guess, but again, we'll have a look after the race. There's a lot to go back and have a look at here, and we're not even halfway through yet, so the post-race debrief is going to be long, I would suggest. Ludovic Ranson still defending from judges Mark Lucas here, but it's good that Lucas has gotten past all of those he's been fighting in this race, and now finally he's looking forward to 6th position. This might be all he can really get from this race because of 5.4 seconds up to the top 5, so unless there's problems, then it might be tricky for him to manage that. But he is at least catching cars and fighting for 6th place.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on what goes on with Stefan Dodderer, who's now trying to fight his way back through. Looks like he has taken a trip off the circuit again early at the beginning of this lap here, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Jacques Willems and Marcis Putnieks. This is going to be an interesting one for me because I think both of these guys this season kind of underachieved as such of probably where they wanted to be. And I think that's the thing, you know, and I think for both of them, they've got to look at coming back next season and going, yeah, I've got to do better than where I was, you know what I mean? Because I feel there's more to come from Jacques. There's more to come from Marcius as well.
That line left a bit to be desired, I'm afraid. Sorry, yeah, I'm only saying that because I know he's there.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's right.
A little bit pressed on out of the final corner. Here comes Lucas in the slipstream and looking up the inside. Is it going to be, or is it going to be forced to the outside? Ranson sort of going through the middle of the road, which is fine, but it does leave you with either choice. And Lucas chose the outside. At one stage, it looked like he was going to go right round and get the position, but in the end, he just about runs out of room and stays behind. And through the turn 3 banking they go. He has to stay behind in 7th place again, but that was pretty brave, and at one stage looked very encouraging for him.
Yeah, he did. He had a go, which is always nice. I love a good goer and a tryer. So that's great from Joseph Lucas, and he's going to have to keep trying again. He's got to close that gap back up to Rancon. Eddie Amos, Patrick Pieper going side by side. Amos does manage to take that position, I think, but he's actually holding on to that position from Pieper. Pieper's not letting him go here on that one. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on Jimenez slowly up into Ridgeway and Zwemstra slowly up into Roon, as we've still got 20 laps to go.
Yep, still plenty of time remaining in the season. Indeed, this is the last round of the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League for Season 3 of 2024. Eddie Amos heading the group with Patrick Pieper and Van der Laan just in behind in this group. There has been plenty going on so far in this race, and I was talking earlier on about the lack of overtaking opportunities around here, and we have commented on that, of course, but worth noting that there has been plenty to look at so far, plenty going on. It looks like Andy Flint is again going to provide some of that entertainment as he gets very close to Lucas. I think a mistake has been made by Lucas, to be honest, to allow Andy Flint to get quite so close to him all over again.
Yeah, Jacques Willems Masters Putnieks have closed back up as well. So Putnieks is closing in on Willems there as they maintain and hold that speed going around turn 3, that banking section here currently. Topping, well, north of 200. Are they going to reach 220? Just about 220 kilometres an hour. So if you want to translate that into miles per hour, you're more than welcome.
Kilometres an hour is better, but anyway, let's
working kilometres an hour. We're in England. It's miles an hour.
I know. I do generally know what miles an hour means more, but it's such a bad way of measuring stuff with a mile. Anyway, that's for another day probably. I'm just giggling to myself at Tony Jimenez sort of encouraging himself in the past in the third person, which has got to be a JPB first, I think. I don't know if anybody's encouraged themselves as if they were someone else, even though the race has already been done and he knows where he's going to finish. But, anyway,
I'm sure it's still exciting for them, all right? It's still exciting.
We'll leave it to it. It's probably quite instructive to watch your races back again like this, to be honest. As side by side they go, Andy Flint and Lucas, and after all that trying to go up to 6th, Lucas goes from 7th to 8th, I'm afraid. Andy Flint moves forward, and he's struck, maybe showing the experience of a longer time IGP driver, because Lucas has taken a long time to get this overtake done for 6th place. Andy Flint only really needing that one opportunity.
Yeah, he just grasped it where he could, couldn't he? And that was the end of it for Andy Flint. He said, thank you very much, I'll have some of that, and he did. Marcius Putnieks still with Jacques there. Jacques at YouTube had a lot of evening shifts on Sunday. The times that I did actually get a few top 10s. Hashtag underachieving. So there we go. Sorry, Jacques, you know I love you really. But, hey, got to turn up more, mate. Got to turn up more.
Yeah, doesn't help when you're not here. You can't score many points. Meanwhile, out of turn 10, and he's under pressure here from Marcius Putnieks, who gets very close again into 11. But even a braking zone like that, one of the fiercest and strongest on the circuit, still can't really get close enough for a move on this occasion. The leaders have been close for a while.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Roon and Kevin Schmamster here. are separated by less than half a second, but there really has been nothing doing in terms of an overtake for the first half of the race. Dempster's just running very close indeed to the American, and maybe getting that bit of dirty air in his tyres as a result.
Yeah, he's having a bit of a moment. Putniks and Willems going side by side into turn one. Is Willems going to be big, brave, round the outside? He is there. He managed to hold it. Can Putniks get up the inside into two? No, but he's going to force Willems on that lower. Push him out. You've got to push him out. He's going to go straight. Oh! You've got to open the steering up. You cannot give him that run. You've got to force him up higher. You've got to give yourself as much of that banking as you possibly can. Open the steering. Make him work for it. Make him work there. And Jack, unfortunately, didn't do that. And Putniks just swept round the outside as if Jack was just garbage in the high street, unfortunately. And Putniks just come along and swept him up. Dodora and Cornu. Oh, dearie me. Don't crash on a straight as well.
There's two drivers who have had issues today, but Dodder more pronounced, and he's now up into 16th at least, but he has been dropping down, I'm afraid, as a result of that spin at turn one that we saw just up ahead. Chris Pat seems to have gone off briefly, but he's back on again now, and he's going to get overtaken by a few drivers. Eddie Amos through into 12th, and through goes Patrick Pieper as well, and Bart van der Laan as well, who, Bart Jan van der Laan indeed, who goes through into 14th position. I can't help but feel Stefan Dodder's car looks like that Jordan from the early 2000s. It is meant to look like that.
It is. It's the old Benson and Edges Jordan livery.
I don't remember there being a green rear wing though.
I don't know.
Is that just a creative take he's taken on it?
Maybe. It could well be. But I still think it looks cool. Go for it. I'm having a Google.
Yeah, I do as well.
I'm having a Google. I will let you know. No, it didn't. It had a black wing. But it is a take off that, but it had a black wing.
Right. I was going to say, it's really putting me off, because I can't quite tell if it's supposed to be just if it's just the same shade of yellow that he's just using it because he is, or whether it's actually an homage to that Jordan from the late 90s and early 2000s indeed, and not just the early 2000s. There's a don't drink and drive advert on the rear wing. Don't know what that's all about. Anyway, out into
spitting facts, isn't he? Don't drink and drive.
Well, I know, yeah. We're in the sim after all. Anyway, side by side for 21st position between Gerard and Towsma. That's very close. And the inside there, I'm afraid, is always going to win. Adam Towsma, the beneficiary in that occasion. He moves up to 21st. He's quite far down for someone of his ability, actually, but at least he's making progress.
Yeah, he is. But again, he's another one that can safely say, he's in the top 10 of the championship, probably not as high as he wants to be. Put the X and Willems. Now is Willems going to go round? Nope, you're on the marbles, unfortunately, for Jack Willems. And now he's got Clark Williams, who was involved with Koji Ito. We've got Eddie Amos and Patrick Pieper. They're running side by side through turn one. Amos does manage to go through. And we've got Ridgway with Jimenez. So I'm trying to catch all 6 of these battles because they're all in YouTube chat. And I'll try and catch them all at the same time.
Just trying to show the people who are here, to be honest.
Well, yeah, why not? But the problem is they're the ones in battles.
Proving to be quite tricky. There is Ridgway. You can't miss him in that livery. It's quite
he's got slow. He's been slow.
He's got a bad run, though. And here we go. Tony Jimenez on the outside, side by side into 11 and 12. They're both going to have to be brave on the brakes, but they can't both get through in the lead. Bit of a lock-up, and Ridgway goes very wide through 12. So Tony Jimenez has the place. It will all stem from the mistake out of turn 10 for Ridgway, who is now demoted to 5th position.
Yeah, Jimenez just got it in. He literally was not giving that position up. Now he's going to go and hug the white line on the left-hand side on your screen there. He comes to the right-hand side now. Ridgway's got no response. He can't get up the inside. What about happening here with Rancon, Flint and Lucas? Well, it's all about these three. Again, Flint is not close enough. Clark Williams and Jacques Willems are coming side by side down into turn one. Clark does go through. No defense there from Mr. Willems, unfortunately, on that one. He's got to now go. Don't go on the inside of him. Go up high, up high. That's it. Get up there and run him off around the outside there as well. But Jacques has gone from battling with Putniks to now losing a place to Williams.
Yep. Willems versus Williams, a battle of the two different ways of pronouncing the same name as they go into turn 7, and Willems is going to struggle to go all the way around there again as we see it's such a big 180-degree switchback. Well, it's not quite 180 degrees, it's probably about 90. But anyway, it's a big switchback and a big corner, and you're going to struggle to go around the outside through there for sure, especially because it's quite so narrow as well. We've had some pronunciation comments in from your son.
Oh, okay.
But I think I'm right, and he's wrong. But we can fight that one out after the broadcast.
What do you mean? Who's right? Who's wrong? It's Rancon.
I don't think it's right. Or he thinks it's Ranchon, which I definitely don't think is correct.
Look,
I think
fair,
it's
I don't know. My son speaks French, so it probably could well be. He's fluent French, my boy. Listen, look, we've got battles on the floor here.
Sorry, side by side between the two of them. In towards turn 1, Andy Flint, I didn't know how to pronounce his name. He gets up to 6th place pretty easily, actually, in the end. That was fairly orderly, actually. And so, demoted. See, he's got the little hook on the C. I've forgotten what the actual name, the thing is called. But he's got the little hook on the C, which I think makes it a soft C. And not a ch or a k, but a s. Anyway.
Full professionalism going on up in the JPB booth this evening.
Oh dear. 12th place. Patrick Pieper's gotten through and he's doing all right, actually. Eddie Amos and Bart-Jan Vanderlaan are sort of occupying themselves with each other now, and they're dropping away. As Clark Williams, I'm afraid, has made a mistake, allowing Jack Williams to get back into the top 10 again. It wasn't a big mistake, clearly, because he's still right there, but Clark Williams has lost the top 10.
Yeah, he has. Unfortunately, on that one, made a mistake coming out, so we'll have to keep an eye on this one, and we'll see what goes on for Clark Williams. Stefan Dodoro has had a horrible time. He's been off about 4 times since we caught up with him a little bit earlier on. Lee Aberdeen, not Lee Aberdeen, Tony Jimenez and Robert Ridgway there. It'd be interesting to see what goes on in the front end as well. It's they got 12 laps to go. Gap's about 1.1 as Tony Jimenez disappears on me. We can't be having that because otherwise it will all go wrong. But Ridgway and Jimenez fighting out. We've still got Lucas Ranchon and Andy Flint. They're in their own little battle as well. And Townsville and Costas Tenebrail.
Scared to say his name. Lucas moves through on the outside and he's going to struggle again there. Story of turn 7 in this race has very much been one of non-success, I'm afraid, for those who have tried it. As we get to the 2/3 mark now in this race. Just 12 laps to go now in the season. And of course, of this race, and it looks like Mackenzie Rooney is on his way to the end. In terms of the title, by the way, Pedro Suarez, of course, already wrapped up with the probable victory after this one, and he's not here obviously to sort of defend his own honour, if you like, but it was always going to be his title after Motegi taking an extra week off and taking 2 weeks off so that maybe he can have a go at winning the next season as well. But interesting that he hasn't decided to just take this bit of lap of honour, if you like, and take on this last race as a bit of a sort of let's see what happens and take the pressure off.
Yeah, but I suppose if he's come in and he's already calculated the maths, you know, he's probably been at a barbecue. I don't know. Or somewhere where he's thought, well, actually, I don't really need to turn up. I'm a champion now. You know what I mean? For Pedro Suarez. So if he's got, I suppose it's like anything. If you've got the opportunity or he can't make it, he might have had a technical issue. Who knows? As we're on board with Robert Ridgway sweeping up through the S's, coming down now into Achieve Black turn 7. Before we head down into, turn 6 actually, round turn 7, and then off through the right-hander now. So Robert Ridgway there still catching up on Tony Jimenez. No real changes at the front currently, and it's all kind of settled down mid-pack as well. Costas Tenebrail, Adam Townsville. Where are you going there as Lucas and Ranchon they were plummeting down the order? Are you laughing every time I say Ranchon now?
I am, yeah, it's becoming a problem. I'm enjoying, by the way, the bit of hindsight that's going on from absolutely everybody in the YouTube chat. Kevin's oh dear, Mackenzie Roon just dips in and out there for a second. We don't want any of that. just offering a bit of comment sort of in hindsight for us here, mentioning that we're at official distance now, so the IGP does go on for a little bit longer than the Super Formula Lights iRacing races do day to day. And he's just commenting that his lap times are going to start to suffer because of tyre wear, and the two of them staying very close to one another throughout the first part of the race, and now look, already he's lost a second and a half to Mackenzie Roon, and so the extra third of the race, if you like, is starting to hurt him now.
Yeah, it is. He's starting to. Looks like he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to get caught by Lee Aberdeen. I don't think Lee Aberdeen's pulling in that much of a gap on him. Marek Otlov's, unfortunately, has just had another little bit of a drama, and he's sitting down there going around, unfortunately, on that one. This is Lucas battling away with 7th place.
Yeah, it is. Into turn 9 they go. And he's a bit wide here, Ranson, and that is going to surely allow Lucas to move to the outside. Does he go for a cutback on the exit, or does he just go right round? He's going to go right round the outside. Oh, did they make contact there, or did they just get very close? It was still very close here as they go wheel to wheel on the way towards turn 11. But later on the brakes, Lucas going to have the place. Oh, he was aggressive there. He made absolutely sure that he was going to get 7th. And I think after being stuck behind the Frenchman for so long, he just thought, I want to be through here. I want to see you in my rearview mirror now. And that's exactly what he's finally been able to achieve.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the fact my boys in YouTube chat. Well, to be honest, James is saying it correctly, as that is how it's pronounced, coming from someone who lived here in France for 6 years. Well, you can't even call me dad in YouTube chat. You know what I mean? I'm your father, mate.
Okay.
I ain't your
no.
You know what I mean?
And straight through again. Lucas has lost the position straight away. So there you go. Well, that was very short-lived, I'm afraid. Or Joseph Mark Lucas, who then gets it very wrong on the way to what, well, not wrong, but just very near to contact with his rival. So yeah, fair enough. Okay. I don't. I'm going to need a lesson on how that is the case. Because that goes against my understanding completely.
There's no point talking to me about it. I'll let him get on with it. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Okay, fine.
I love Robert Ridgway's French. Baguette.
Great. That's good. Anyway, talks about himself afterwards, and then we'll have some proper ideas. Anyway, this has gone on far too long. 9 laps to go in the race. Mackenzie Roon still leads by 0.4 of a second. He extended his margin again to 1.8, and mistakes starting to creep in as well for Kevin Dremster. Just a little bit wide into the gravel through turn number 1, and what he was speaking about in the YouTube chat very much playing out in front of our eyes here. It's now over 2 seconds, and it looks like Mackenzie Roon in hindsight has paced this a little bit better.
Yeah, maybe from Mackenzie. I think he's done a great job. Let's be real. He can be Mr. Consistent when he really wants to be, can't he? So I think at the end of the day, he hasn't been really under much pressure from the start, and I don't think he's going to carry on being under much pressure to the end of the race. The interesting thing will be if Swemstra and Aberdeen, can even get near each other, and how is Tony Jimenez and Robert Ridgway going to get on? They're just going to be plodding along here. And as you can see further down, it's David Gerard and Costas Tenebrow having a little bit of a ding-dong.
Yeah, this has been a good rise through the field for Costas Tenebrow here. Up to 8 places, but not quite as good as David Gerard, who's made up 11. It's our biggest mover forward in the day so far. And he's looking for another place here to get inside the top 20. And a bit of a colour clash car, I've got to say. The green and pinky purple kind of outfit. And they're pretty close to going a lap down here as well, by the way. This is right the way back towards the end of the field, at least of those who have not really had any incidents today. They've just been strung out the back because of the speed of the race. And Mackenzie Roon's only just going around turn 3 now, so they've effectively got that flat-out run from turn 3 to 7 ahead of the leader. Otherwise, they're going to be put a lap down before the end. Yeah,
well, it depends if obviously Mackenzie can make it. It's like anything, the more you battle, the more you slow each other down. Next one will be Oscar Artinanu. So we'll see on that one. Patrick Peebles had a bit of a rotten time. He went off on 25, and unfortunately he still seems to be off having a bit of a moment there. Kevin Swemster has got Maximilian Gerber in front of him. Nestle Aberdeen in the background. Robert Ridgway's got the gap bound again over Tony Jimenez to about 7/10. It seems that Ridgway's got Jimenez's number in sectors between sectors 2 and 3 here. So we'll see if Ridgway can capitalise on Jimenez on that one. But we'll have to keep an eye on this and see what happens.
We will. I think that gap might be a bit too big at this stage, but there are still 7 laps remaining. Yeah, I feel so weird commentating on drivers who are literally watching right now because they're right there. But anyway, I don't know. It's because it feels like half the time we're talking to them, half the time we're talking about them.
Well, this is the opportunity. They can hear what you say directly live now. You know, this is what we say to them directly. So all DMs to Ewan O'Leary.
No, no DMs to me, please. Anyway, nobody will find me anyway, it's fine. So 0.8 of a second out of turn number 1, and they continue to sort of separate themselves from the rest of the field. The podium places are far removed, but doesn't look like they're going to lose their top 5 either. After Andy Flint has moved into 6th position, 8 seconds behind Robert Ridgway. I don't think that gap's going to come down in the meantime. Patrick Pieper is just in behind Marcelo Kessler here for 15th place. Pieper was battling for a top 10 earlier on, of course, but has slipped back since then. He's looking to recover and at least get back into the top 15. What's happened? Oh, Lee Aberdeen! What's happened? He spun at turn 8. And that is that's him facing the wrong way, by the way. That's not him going down an access road. That's him spinning into an access road, which he has retired from. And now the podium is up for grabs.
Yeah, but if that's him and Swemster are on the same setup, according to them in YouTube chat. So if that's happened to Aberdeen, isn't it going to happen to Kevin Swemster as well? Isn't he going to end up just burning off the tyres and it's all going to go wrong?
We'll see. He's certainly having the effects of the tyres going away from him, but whether to actually spear off the road as a result is another matter. He's now got 10 seconds back to Jimenez as well, so if he really does want to conserve this podium, then he can, rein it in a little bit over these last 6 laps.
Yeah, you tell a racing driver that's not race. Go for it. See how you get on.
Oh, hello. This could be tricky, awkward. Oh, as one of the lap cars tries to get out of the way and now does.
I think that's Artinanu. That was the XBD, wasn't it? Yeah, XBD Emerald of Oscar Artinanu there. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But Lee Aberdeen off the side of the circuit on lap 29 and in pit lane. Ridgway and YouTube. Thank you, Aberdeen. It says there as well. But we'll have a look again at some of the replays. We've got quite a few to go through, so we'll be a little bit selective on which ones we're going to have a look at here, as there is quite a few that have happened over this race.
Yep, there are. So, as a reminder, because we're doing this broadcast sort of as live and not actually live, we can't go through the replays at the time, but instead at the end of the race, which we will do in at 5 laps time, as Mackenzie makes his way up towards the line, and now crosses with those 5 laps remaining, and a bit of a smoke screen ahead of him as someone's gone locking up catastrophically into turn number 1. Don't know what that was all about. But anyway,
not sure on that one.
It was either 21st or 22nd. I couldn't tell you which, but David Gerrard and 20th or 21st, or around that region of the order. Anyway, battle for 3rd place is getting close again. Ridgway going to give this maybe one more go. You don't get very many chances around here. You've really got to build up an opportunity over the course of laps. And so Ridgway is running out of time now to actually make a move on Tony Jimenez.
Willems is closing in. I did notice that before you typed it, Jacques. So Willems is closing in on Putnieks here, but I'm interested to see Doda is off the track again. He's just had a rotten one since his first spin. Jimenez has got Ridgway, Putnieks has got Willems, Lucas has got Ranchon, and Amos has got Patrick Pieper in and around him with Marcelo Kessler. And at the moment, I'm worried about Kevin Swemster and how much tyre wear he's going to have left as well come the end of this race, if he's going to have any left at all.
Yeah. And as Williams mentioned earlier on, actually in the YouTube chat, mentioned that he suspects Putniks had to fuel save a little bit throughout the race, so that's why the gap coming back down towards him again. Out of turn 13 and 14, these two go. Jimenez ahead of Ridgway on the way towards turn 1. Don't think this is quite close enough, but Jimenez totally knows the threat posed now by Robert Ridgway as he just weaves around to break the slipstream here. And in towards turn number 1, he will stay in third position, but you can tell this is getting closer and closer. And Robert Ridgway is sizing up an opportunity of which he'll probably only have 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, Jacques Williams looked like he might have run a little bit wide. That's put the end to his battle with Putnieks at this moment in time. And we've only got 2 laps to go. And at the moment, it's only really the front half of the field. You can see the 2 battles, Jimenez and Ridgway, Rancon, and obviously Lucas, and then we got Willems and Putnieks. So we'll have to see what's happening here as well. And Kevin Zwemstra, obviously riding the same setup as Lee Aberdeen, looked like he obviously could be in the same boat. But at the moment, Lucas and Rancon are still scrapping it out and have bum for most of the race.
Yeah, they are. And so...
Oh, he's made a mistake.
Oh, and wide. Lucas goes through, round the outside in towards turn 10.
I knew it.
Yeah, Zwemstra.
Zwemstra's in the... yeah. Whatever happened to Kevin Zwemstra? I knew that was coming. It must have happened at some point. And now, unfortunately, he's in pit lane and for Kevin Zwemstra. But we've got this Ridgway Jimenez battle for what is now the podium with Mackenzie Room 14 seconds out in front.
Yeah, again, we'll go back and have a look at that at the end of the race, of course. But 15 seconds, very nearly, for Mackenzie Roon at the front of the race. What a great way to end the season for him. Of course, in the running for points as well, by the way. The best of the American contingent in this season of the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League. Of course, there are plenty of Americans, so that's a decent accolade to have achieved. This race win only going to secure that further ahead of Robert Ridgway and Andy Flint, who will also join him in the top 5 of the championship standings at the end of the 12 rounds. Willems closing in on Putnieks then, and 3 laps to go. Believes he can get through here, but just a case of whether he can do it in the limited time remaining.
Whoever's just in YouTube chat, I just parked it. Why would you do that from second in the race?
I was, to be fair, I didn't say it, but I was thinking it. Well, I didn't see him off the road.
No.
but they. Well, there's the reason why, I suppose.
But why would he park it? Patrick Peoples had a bit of a rotten time as well, unfortunately for him. We'll catch a couple of his, but I'm not going to compound his misery any longer here. But why would he say he just parked it? But then again, I suppose if we didn't see him off the side of the road, he could have well done. But why park it from second on lap 32?
I don't know, but there you go. That's what's happened, I'm afraid. And so
Rancon's in the pit lane.
through goes. He is in the pit lane. 2 laps in as well, so he must have underfueled quite disastrously, I'm afraid. Oh, look at that, Jack Williams round the outside at turn 1. Wasn't expecting that to go quite as well as it did. In the end, it didn't quite give him the place, but it very nearly did. And Putnieks very nearly swiping himself straight into the wall there by going across the nose of Williams. That looked close from the camera angle we had. Whether it was actually close, I'm not sure, but I think it was. That was for 6th place, of course, now. And Williams on the penultimate lap knows that time's running out.
Yeah, but he's only got he's got this one and one more to go here. So for Jacques Willems, is he going to be able to clear Putnieks before they get to the end of the race? That's going to be the question. He's only got 1 and 1 more to do it. There you go.
Oh, and they're wide for Putnieks, and surely here goes Willems right round the outside into turn 10, and through he goes after hounding Putnieks for a while. Jack Willems is up into 6th position. We've had word through as well, by the way, from Kevin Zwemstra, who says that it wasn't fun to drive anymore, so it just parked it. The tyres were absolutely toast, and so he decided to park it. What he has done is given Jimenez and Ridgway podium places, the both of them. Another podium for Jimenez.
Yeah, which is great for them guys, I suppose. That gives, obviously, for Tony, his 4th podium of the season, and for Robert, that's actually his 1st podium of the season. So Robert, if gets a podium this time around, it will be his first one.
Yep, it will. Oh, it is very close. Jimenez must have been, and is slowed by traffic. Oh, and through on the inside, through the middle, Ridgway has a look, but that was never going to work. Free wide in towards turn 9, but you can tell it is the final lap because Robert Ridgway is looking every which way to try and get through here into second position. But meanwhile, Mackenzie Roon in towards the final couple of corners. Hasn't been able to win yet this season, but now finally has done. Here at Zandvoort, it's taken him till the final round, but he is a winner in the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League again. 35 laps of racing, and he's led every single one of them here today. Roon the victor by a quarter of a minute in a display of domination from the American that gets him second place in the championship as Tony Jimenez goes over the line just ahead of Robert Ridgway to secure that tied second place with Mackenzie Roon. I guess on countback, Roon might well have it on race wins, but anyway, Jimenez second in the race ahead of Ridgway, who rounds out the podium, and for that, rounding out most of the battles as well, rounding out another season in this championship.
Yeah, it's been a great season here. We'll just let Ranchon and Cornu go through. They're coming through the first but last part of this racetrack as well. They've got 2 more corners to go, and I want to see whether or not Ranchon can actually get anywhere near Cornu on the run down to the line. Well, he does. There was a slowdown there for Dennis Cornu. Ranchon has gone through, and that was one Frenchman overtaking another one. And Ludovic Ranchon makes it through. Dennis Cornu manages to hang on to 12th, just in front of Marcello Kessler there for 13th, as we wait for the final 2 cars of Adam Towns just Adam at the moment to finish off.
Only 15 on the lead lap, and the thing I mentioned about the race last week as well at Motegi, also just 15 on the lead lap that day as well, so a bit weird, but anyway. Let's have a look at the results before we get into the replays. Mackenzie Roon by a long way ahead of Tony Jimenez and Robert Ridgway. Andy Flint and Joseph Mott Lucas finishing inside the top 5 with Jacques Willems in 6th place. He says sarcastically underachieving. Obviously not. Mostert Putnik 7th ahead of Clark Williams with Bart-Jan van der Laan finishing 9th ahead of Chris Pat. Then Ludovic Ranchon, who finishes in 11th, just ahead of his fellow countryman Dennis Cornu. Marcelo Kessler, Eddie Amos and Adam Townsma round out the lead lap drivers. Those who finished 1 lap down start with Costas Tenebrel, who gains the most places of anybody apart from David Gerard. In between them was Marek Otlovs, Oscar Artinano and Maximilian Gebhardt round out the top 20, with Patrick Pieper finishing 21st ahead of Don Oki. Then you've got Zwemster, who parked it pretty close to the end, Koji Ito, who was 4 laps down, Stefan Dodera and Lee Aberdeen were both 6 down, with those following on, retiring very early on in the race in the first third. Chris Trott, Darryl Govender, Donald Strout and Guern, McKenzie, Vane, Sevillano, Williams and Zamota, some of those, the last 2 of those not even starting the race. Already getting through the first lap. So let's have a look at some replays then, shall we? Because there's plenty to get through. Starting with
Dennis Stroll.
I don't know what we're starting with it.
Dennis Stroll, he just come out of the pits and then, it looked like he just went back into the pits. This was the first major drama, I think. This is where Patrick Williams, he started going there and then he just gets it all out of shape. And then him and Zamota make contact and Williams goes off into the shadow realms here. There we go.
As the Motu comes up into Williams there for me.
Yeah.
Just going up the hill really, and you can't afford to do that. Around turn 3, he just disappear and we never see him again for whatever reason. There's a little bit of a running wide that we saw at the time for Ludovic Ranchon. In the 11th position, he would eventually finish.
This is Civillano. Whatever this was, sent himself straight back to the pit lane. Oh, there you go.
So that's what could have happened, I suppose. Oh, big contact, and very nearly contact with another one of the drivers as well. And that was a disappointing end to his season, finishing down in 33rd.
That was the Mackenzie
Van der
Veen.
Yeah, Van Veen, and Mackenzie.
Yeah, so that was what went on with them. They just got a little bit, it looked like they just got tangled up with each other. I think for Van Veen, he just had a massive overspeed on maybe John McKenzie, and that was the end of that one. This, unfortunately, was Chris Trott, after one of his many dramas.
It's a very narrow entrance to that corner, but I was going to say it's worked for him. Not quite. He goes for a spin and has the awkward situation of having to try and get turned back round again with loads of cars coming. Oh, and there was nowhere to go there for Dennis Cornu, which is the incident that we saw. So Daryl Govender was the one who went around initially, got wide on that curve through turn 3, corrected it initially, then corrected it the other way, and then bang! Contact made, and clearly there was suspension damage there.
Yeah, there was. This is the Koji Ito down the straight.
Oh dear.
That you
I don't
can't.
know who that is on the inside, but
That's Williams. No, that was.
oh dear.
There was a gap there. But that was in relation to what happened here. After the watch to behind, you see Ito just shoot off to the left, and then you see Dodora go too fast and then spin it back round on himself after that. And then, yeah, unfortunately, that was it. This was what happened to Chris Trott. Again, just too fast an entry. Puts it into the barrier. That sends him back to the pit lane. This is Andy Flint's moment. Just had a little bit of a half spin on its own. I'm trying to find... I'm going to jump forward a couple of laps now. There's Eddie Amos on lap 24 down into turn 1. That's Patrick Pieper there on the inside of him. Or on the outside of him.
Yeah, so up on the curb on the inside. Well, you don't see very many people touching the curb even at Tarzan, but that's exactly why. Spin around very quickly indeed. Now Eddie Amos has the awkward situation again of trying to get turned back round again. Here's Lee Aberdeen. So he just hits that curb on the inside and bang into the wall. His rear right suspension on, and his chances of finishing on the podium in the final round also gone.
Yeah, that's Stefan Dodderers. That was a race-ending incident. Here's Kevin, who decided it was time to pull over and have a cup of tea and park it up. So there we go for Mr. Zwemstra. This was Patrick Pieper. Towards the end of the race, he kind of had much tyres left because he was often having moments after moments after moments there. So that was Patrick Pieper, and this is Koji Ito's race-ending. Well, that looks very bizarre there.
A bit wide, really. Well, he just ran wide, and if you do get too... It's not impossible if you're just running too wide into turn 3 and for you to... get it right, see, turning, not stopping. So, straight into the wall, and then, keeps turning into the wall because he doesn't want to come back straight onto the circuit again, into the path of everybody else. Patrick Pieper, he's 21st in the end. Didn't know he had another issue here, but there it is. Spin at turn 11. Oh, and he does back it into the wall as well. The car's found the wall today, actually.
And that was it. That was the main protagonist there on that one. From here, that was the checkered flag. Do we have, if I'm not mistaken about now, do we not have the customary donuts?
For the end of the season, I don't know where they would be around this. I guess turn 1 maybe. Oh no,
well,
on the banking.
Jacques. Yeah, there's Jacques doing one there, but he's all on his own. For Jacques,
Yep.
all by himself, Jacques. Ah, there we go.
Oh, there they are. Oh, a little bit. It's not too much going on, but I guess not many people have finished just yet. A little bit of donuts going on.
Yeah, there's a couple there. Adam Townsmere. Oh, no, just Townsmere, Williams, and Mackenzie Roon. Roon doing donuts there as well. So that's it. So should we have a look at the final championship standings then? And find out where everybody finished? I can safely tell you now. These are after this race.
Yeah, so Pedro Suarez knew that he was going to be the champion, and in the end, in the history books, he's going to go down as champion by 16 points ahead of Tony Jimenez and Mackenzie Roon, who are tied on points, but I would say that Roon would go ahead on race wins after that here today. don't know the ruling on that, but that's what I guess it would be. Robert Ridgway and Andy Flint round out the top 5, with Kevin Dramster 6th after that. Then a pretty big gap back to Edward Amos, who finishes down in 7th, ahead of a few points ahead of Aaron Townsma, a few points ahead of Thibaut Rabelais, and then a few more points ahead of Dennis Cornu. Then it's Lee Aberdeen, who finishes rather lowly 11th for him, but wasn't that all the races this season. Joseph Lucas finishes in 12th position. 10 points further back was Evan Way, who wasn't quite here today and indeed missed 5 rounds this season. Costas Tenebro finishes in 14th for the Christian Glamseater, who's just over half the races this season, as was Marcis Putnick's Don Lee, Will McIntyre. Zoltan Zabota and Kevin Byland were at most of the races, but didn't do quite as well. They finished down in 19th and 20th. Don't know how much further you want me to go.
That's it. That's all I've got in here, because otherwise, if I went through the whole list of standings, right, and there's still people in there that were in and around from last season, there's quite a lot. So just go to there.
Yep, 74 drivers even scored points in this season, and there are plenty of familiar names who didn't even compete this season, like Philip Lucas, for example. Luca Verani, I don't think, did a race this season. Neither did the likes of Jakub Olszewski, so plenty of names to maybe return next season. Are we allowed to say anything about next season? Have we got any final comments on next season or this season before we go?
This season has gone really well and exciting. Next season is going to be even more interesting, isn't it? Let's be real. Is there something I'm supposed to know about now? Because I felt like I was just been put on the spot there, Mr. O'Leary.
No. You can say you don't have. Other than the fact that we'll be back again, but
yeah, that's a given. Look, let's be real. We're tied in for IGP for the next 20 years here. That was the deal I signed with Luca Ferrari. It was like a 20-year contract.
Well, that's fine. I'll be mid-40s by then.
So you'll be taking over from me, bud. That's all you got to worry about on that one.
Retiring in 20 years, eh?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I've puffed on that one. I'll be 68. No, I won't. 66 by that point. I'll be getting my bus pass.
Retirement age, though.
Oh, God, it will probably go up to blinking by 80 by the time I get there. Overall, this season's been really good, I think. I'll be back next season as well, I'm sure. Are you coming back next season?
Yeah. Well, I don't say definitely yes in case I don't, but I'm edging towards yes anyway. I think so. I think there's a good chance. So I'm looking forward to that. It's always a good hour of racing on a Sunday night. It's the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League, and so I have a feeling, but I don't want to say 100% yes in case something happens, which is unforeseen. So. Hope so. I'll just leave it at that. Thanks very much, though, for everyone who's tuned in. I know this has been a delayed broadcast, but hopefully, as much as we can in the future, we'll be live again on Sunday nights, and all will be well with the world again. That'll be nice.
Just did my PC hold up, but Shaq liked it. He said, "Thanks, guys, for the retrospect. Quite fun, actually."
I was going to say, I was actually thinking this. As a driver myself, I might quite have enjoyed watching, just from a pure learning perspective about my own driving. It would have been quite useful. But anyway, at least people have enjoyed it, even if it's retrospective. And hopefully people continue to enjoy live broadcasting as well in the future. So a big thanks to everyone who's been chatting along with us this evening. I've been Ian Lear alongside James Parfitt. And until we see you for Season 4 of 2024, it's goodbye for now.